Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, of course, all the chatter this week has been about the government's starting a consultation period, a 12-week consultation period, which takes us to about December, when they are going to look at the house buying process in England. So regular viewers of my vlog will know that this is a subject that I've talked about for quite some time. Our system is absolutely fraught with issues. We have enormous number of fall throughs. It takes far too long to get to exchange of contracts, and time, money, energy, emotion is wasted on that dreadful journey. The industry average has sat at around 40% of deals that don't get from offer to exchange of contracts. We run at a much lower rate in Madison's. We're normally around 7 to 8%. Which is some good reasons why we do that. It's something I take very, very seriously and invest heavily in with my wonderful team, Millie and Jane, my sales progression managers, who really monitor the process to get it through to exchange of contracts. And we like to think we put together the right deal at the beginning. We also put together a charter which sets out key terms to avoid any surprises. But even every now and again, things with us and certainly in the wider industry go wrong. It's because you enter this period where you can withdraw without any financial obligation at all, other than what you have spent on various legal work or searches. Of course, some solicitors offer a no sale, no fee, so your solicitor costs can even be quite low there. And survey costs, searches, that's all you're going to really be in for. So generally, the industry average at the moment is about 120 days to get to exchange of contracts, which is dreadful, as I'm sure you will agree, and 1/3 of sales currently collapsing. And basically that can happen because of an adverse survey. The chain can break down. That's a big reason. Solicitor might find stuff out on the legals. You might just get cold feet. You might split up with your partner. All things might go on. So basically, yeah, it's a very, very fraught process. So the government announced yesterday they're going to have a consultation, as I've said, to look at this. And they announced certain key areas. Sorry, I'm a woman of a certain age now, so I need to glance at my notes every now and again. So one of the first things they want to do is have more upfront information. Now that did slightly change, actually. The material information that we have to now gather under trade descriptions is quite extensive, actually, but they want to really improve that and make it more rigid. So there are no nasty surprises that will come later down the line. Could be because of an adverse legal title, something that comes back on the searches. There might be something on the survey. The house might have a history of subsidence. All these things that as agents and sellers you should really disclose either before or at the early point of the sale, before the buyer could financially lose. That has tightened up quite a lot, as I said. There is quite a lot of information we have to put on our listings now and questions that we have to ask. They're going to make that even tighter. They want to do earlier binding agreements to make all parties a bit more committed. So at the moment, you can go right through to exchange and withdraw, which is heartbreaking for everyone, and not just for our agents, because us agents do an awful lot of work. We don't get any money at all, but they want to make it so you've got much more binding agreements, a bit like maybe in Scotland where you have the 2-week, it can be extended, but generally the 2-week missives period, which is where the solicitors basically fire questions across the really important ones, the big ones that they feel would stop the property sale going ahead. And once you've got to that point, you are in for the deal, basically. You only have that 2-week period or whatever's been agreed, but it's still short, to withdraw from the transaction. So maybe something more like that. Brilliant. More digitalization and data sharing. So that could be to do with searches, building control certificates, fencer certificates, indemnity insurance that might be in place, all sorts of those sort of things, just to have that more digitalized so it can be shared more easily. Quite often we're just sat waiting. I've got a deal at the moment. We were told that the chain's been ready to exchange for about 3 or 4 weeks, and a lot of pressure put on us because we're the 2 uplinks in the chain. Enormous pressure. We've absolutely galvanised, got it all sorted, brought forward a load of things. Everybody's pulled it out the bag. Turns out the bottom of the chain don't have a building control certificate, so we're now waiting for that. It's infuriating. Anyway, what's next? So professional standards and more transparency. So as estate agents, it's actually a highly unregulated industry that I operate in. I previously worked in banking. had loads of qualifications and had to have those qualifications to be able to give professional advice to my clients. But estate agency, there are regulatory exams that you can do, but they are very much voluntary, certainly not mandatory. So looking to tighten that up and have better codes of conduct for agents and conveyancers. And this is a good one, to have more time, process and constraints. So to set deadlines by which things have to happen by. As I have found many times in this job, you go as fast as your weakest link. There are some phenomenal solicitors in the town. You know who you are because we refer you all the time. They are amazing. But if there's a really poor link in the chain, no matter how fast they go, that is the speed you're going to go. And what has become more the norm as well, which is even more infuriating, I feel like I'm reading a soapbox today, is when a lower grade of conveyancing executive will do all the legal work. They'll say, yes, we're ready to exchange. And then the file gets passed to someone more senior to sign it off. And they might find about 5 things that are missing. That's what I've got going on with that chain at the moment. So we're back to square one. It's infuriating. So yes, to have standardized timelines of when things have to happen by, deadlines, penalties if they don't happen by that time. Anyway, so yes, all good. So obviously a little bit of reservation. Home information packs, HIPs, as they were called, were introduced in 2007, scrapped in 2010. They should have been good on paper. They looked like they would do a lot of benefit. They would have packs pre-prepared with a lot of information, EPCs, planning consent, searches, surveys, property information form for leasehold managed properties. So it should have had this pack prepared, which basically got rid of all the ambiguity, or much of the ambiguity deal, but they were abolished in 2010. The main reason, because I've reviewed them for 3 years, didn't actually speed anything up. And I think that's because all this cost went on to front loading this stuff, but you still needed these third parties underneath that to work through it. And that's where having timelines, penalties. Anyway, so you can tell I'm excited about this, can't you? Yeah, so basically there was a lot of upfront for costs for sellers, didn't really speed things up, were felt to be a barrier to people putting their house on the market. So scrapped. So let's hope that isn't what this becomes. There's an element of that will certainly be needed on this, but I think that whole wide reform of digitization, timeframe standards, more code of conduct around agents, regularization. I love an exam. I quite look forward to that. I think that will all be for the good. Let us wait and see. That's all I'm going to talk about today, because that's been a big subject, hasn't it? So let me finish with something nice. A gorgeous property that we have launched on Valley View. I love Valley View. It's after its name. It's got the most wonderful views. Lovely location in Southborough. This is a really great 5-bedroom house. Lovely views, really nice condition. Lovely big gardens there, actually. They are fabulous. And a nice little gateway this one's got through to the Ridgeway. So acres of lovely countryside walks on your doorstep, yet Tunbridge mainline station, Southborough and Tunbridge Wells, all within easy reach as well, on a guide of 1 million. So if that one's of interest, do give us a call. I hope you have a great week. I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.